Titanic takes home the gold. We'll rerun the Academy Award winners a bit later, but first, legal evidence is destroyed. Does this mean convicted killers will again be walking the streets? Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Keene.
I'm Sonia Height, Susan. The evidence in more than 300 autopsies is destroyed. Just
as the former medical state examiner's findings come into question.
News 5's Aaron Moody takes a look at what happened and what could happen to some of the cases still open.
It's a matter of protocol to destroy large tissue samples from autopsies, but only after cases have been settled in court. Even then, slides are kept intact for years, even decades after an autopsy has been performed. The evidence from autopsies conducted by Dr. Thomas Bennett between 1995 and 1997 is gone, including more than 30 homicide and shaken baby syndrome cases, 2 of which are still active. Public Safety Commissioner Paul Week says various county attorneys gave their permission to have large tissue samples destroyed, but not the slides. Legal experts are concerned about the possible ramifications. Individual county attorneys will have to determine the damage done to their specific cases. Commissioner Week says an investigation into why the material was destroyed is continuing. In Des Moines, Aaron Moody, News 5.
The person who destroyed the evidence has not been identified. We talked with Dr. Thomas Bennett on the phone, but he declined to comment on camera.
Urbandale police have charged Carol Sorensen with shaking her 4-month-old daughter Amber nearly to death. Prosecutors charged Sorensen with child endangerment. That's a felony. Court records show Sorensen has admitted shaking little Amber on 3 separate occasions. The last incident put the baby in the hospital. Amber has since been released, but for a time she was in critical condition. Windsor Heights police need your help to identify this child, now 7 or 8 years old. Police believe this photo was taken in Polk County in 1990 or 91. Officers won't reveal exactly why they want to talk to the child, saying only he may be able to provide information needed in an ongoing investigation. If you recognize the child, you're asked to call the Windsor Heights Police Department immediately.
A former Central Iowa School Board member will spend time in prison for molesting at least 1 child. Duell Hollingsworth, seen here last January, was sentenced today to 5 years in prison. Hollingsworth pled guilty to 1 count of incest and 2 counts of lascivious acts with the child. A judge also ordered the former United Community School Board member to pay a $1,000 fine. His name will also be placed on the sex offender registry. Loris Fisher is standing trial for a Des Moines church fire. The Community Missionary Baptist Church was set ablaze last October. Witnesses said they saw Fisher running from the church as flames engulfed the altar.
Jimmy Rasmussen has been indicted by a grand jury on charges relating to the death of another Des Moines man in a bar fight. Police charged Rasmussen with the death of 52-year-old Owen Williams last January. Investigators say Rasmussen shot Williams in a struggle over a gun. Toby Michael goes to court tomorrow to face murder charges. Michael is the man accused of stabbing Glenn Zeller to death last year at a Dolls store on Southeast 14th Street. Zeller, a Dolls store manager, was allegedly stabbed when he tried to stop Michael from stealing 2 packs of cigarettes. 2 people who tried to help Zeller also received knife wounds. Michael waived his right to a jury trial. His fate will be determined by a judge.
A Mount Pleasant man faces 10 years in prison for allegedly helping a woman commit suicide. Larry Smith entered a so-called Alford plea in Henry County Court this morning. That means Smith concedes prosecutors do have a case against him without admitting to guilt. An autopsy showed that the woman, Lynn Creamer, was not suffering from a serious illness. An Iowa case heads before the U.S. Supreme Court tomorrow. At issue is whether or not police can be given blanket permission to search drivers' cars with consent after stopping them for routine traffic violations. The argument comes from a case out of Newton back in 1996. Patrick Knowles questioned whether his car should have been searched after he was stopped for speeding. Police found marijuana inside and a pipe.
Iowa's House Democrats unveiled a plan today to fight Iowa's growing meth problem. The plan would give undercover officers more money to make drug busts, as well as provide grants for local police departments. The plan comes with an annual price tag of almost $4 million. Democrats are asking that the money be set aside in next year's budget. A new federal report shows boosting cigarette prices by $1.10 a pack could prevent as many as 10,000 deaths in Iowa over the next 5 years. Attorney General Tom Miller announced the figures today during a conference call with Vice President Al Gore and attorneys general from 19 other states. The same study projects teen smoking would drop by about 42%. And I guess it's almost tomorrow.
It's almost tomorrow.
So we have tomorrow's
We
weather,
have just
really.
a few minutes left.
Does that mean a 5-day or 6-day forecast now? What
I
am I
think
supposed
they're
to do?
4-day now.
4-day. Okay, well that makes it a lot easier, you know, the shorter the time period. Well, 33 right now in Des Moines, 30 in Ames. Temperatures are not too cold out there, and they won't drop a whole lot tonight. we'll see quite a few clouds, and the winds will start to turn more to the east. But check out some of these high temperatures around the nation. Today's highs were quite warm, 68 degrees in Denver today, Mike and Sonia. You think that's the place to be? Hold on, just stay right here, because southwest winds later on in the week will bring in that warm air. 74 today. It was even 90 in West Texas. So
wow.
We've got maybe some 70s coming our way. We'll talk about that later.
Blowing in from Denver.
You bet.
All right, thanks. Well, goodbye, Mom and Pop Grocery Store.
Hello, Superstore of the Future. Hy-Vee is opening its newest store in West Des Moines tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. The company says it's a model for future stores. It has everything from a sushi bar to a post office. Reichardt's is even selling clothes at the 74th Street location.
We'll be building more and more of this type of store for the 21st century for the customer's needs. Fast, ready to go type things. One-stop shopping.
The store will employ 450 people and serve between 3,000 and 4,000 people a day.
A grocery store closing in Ankeny will cost 100 people their jobs. Fairco Foods, a grocery wholesaler, plans to shut its doors next month. Employees will have the option of taking part in a job training program or working at the supermarket's headquarters in Minneapolis. Baxter residents will soon have to drive about 15 miles to shop at the nearest grocery store. The town's only grocery, Eisenberger's Food Mart, is closing its doors the first week in April. Owner Greg Eisenberger claims he can't find a distributor to deliver food to his store and says he's having a hard time competing against the food giants. The closest grocery store to Baxter is located in Newton. Police are backing off their initial report that an explosion killed 11 people at a Pennsylvania cabin yesterday.
This story leads our look at world and national news tonight. All of the dead were either high school students or alumni of Line Mountain High School. They were on spring break camping in a remote section of Center County when their cabin caught fire. Authorities originally said a gas heater exploded, but the blaze is still under investigation. Classes at Line Mountain are canceled and a crisis management team is at work in the community. Rescue helicopters are plucking survivors of a rafting accident out of a rain-swollen gorge in Oregon. At least 13 people have been rescued, but 2 people are known dead. Heavy rain combined with snowmelt caused a wave of water to rush through the narrow gorge Sunday.
In California, the Boy Scouts can keep out anyone they want. That's the ruling today from the California Supreme Court. The court ruled the organization is a club, not a business. As such, they can legally prohibit gays, agnostics, and atheists from becoming scouts. Earlier this month, the New Jersey State Appeals Court ruled the Scouts could not discriminate. A huge and unruly crowd greeted President Clinton in Ghana on this, the first day of the president's historic trip to Africa. At one point, the president had to yell at the crowd, take it into his own hands, telling people to move back. Estimates put the crowd at 500,000 people. The 2-week tour will take the president to 6 nations, including tonight's stop in Uganda. It's the longest African visit ever for a U.S. president.
A dramatic move by Russian President Boris Yeltsin. After a week-long sick leave, he returned to the Kremlin today and fired his entire cabinet. In the past, Yeltsin criticized his government for political infighting and the slow pace of economic reforms. Yeltsin is already considering new aids.
Coming up, the night of the year in Hollywood, the celebrations all the way from Des Moines to Hollywood. And the air is let out of the bubble, or in this case, the dome. Historic work up in Cedar Falls, still to come. And need a health boost, the ceremonial care in tonight's Medical Breakthrough.
Live from the WOI-TV 5 studios in Des Moines, you're watching News 5 at 10 with Mike Keene, Sonia Heidt-Susan, Chief Meteorologist Brad Edwards, and Sports with John Walters.
And the Oscar goes to Titanic. The epic drama is tonight's big winner, tying Ben-Hur with a record 11 Academy Awards. It's only fitting that the biggest grossing movie of all time is also the biggest winner at this year's Oscars.
It wasn't unexpected. The 3-hour, 15-minute epic Titanic was named Best Picture. Its director, James Cameron, also captured an Oscar for his work on the film. Overall, Titanic picked up 11 Oscars, as we say, tying Ben-Hur for the most awards ever. As Good as It Gets swept the major acting awards. Jack Nicholson won for Best Actor. Best Actress award went to Helen Hunt. Well, it was almost like being at the Academy Awards ceremony.
Movie buffs streamed into a local theater this evening to watch the Oscars on the big screen. News 5's Adrian Milholland was there.
Vicki Oderlich and friends were four of 140 people to flock to the Sierra Theater on Oscars night. So what's the highlight of the show?
Love to see what everybody's wearing.
A popular response, being at the Sierra was almost like being in Los Angeles. And if Karina Thompson had been there, she'd probably have fit right in.
We didn't know what people would come dressed like or not, but I didn't get to wear my New Year's Eve outfit on New Year's Eve, so I thought I'd wear it now.
Every one of these folks is a devoted movie fan, including this one. You can only assume he rooted for Jack. Nicholson fans aren't disappointed, and Kim Basinger fans are ecstatic.
I really wanted her to win. I think she deserved it. But I also wanted Gloria Stewart because of Titanic, because it's my favorite movie.
Titanic is most people's favorite, with several Oscars and devoted fans to back up that claim. In West Des Moines, Adrienne Milholland, News 5.
And this is the second year the Sierra Theater has hosted this event. They had such a good turnout, they plan to do it again next year as well.
And for the award-winning weather report.
Man, I didn't know we're coming to a three-shot.
Yeah, this is it.
We need a, you know...
We're up.
We'll do that again.
The director's
for the award-winning weather
Weathercast.
report. Yes.
We've got a good one. We do. It should win an Oscar. It's at least nominated. We'll talk about it.
News 5 Weather is brought to you by the Oriental Rug Warehouse.
Brad Edwards has been awarded the seal of approval of the American Meteorological Society.
Thanks for staying up with us late here at Channel 5. It wasn't much of a day today, but we are going to go uphill the next couple days and see warmer weather, maybe even 70 degrees later this week. Let's talk about what this week is. It's Severe Weather Awareness Week. The National Weather Service trying to get everybody ready for the severe weather season. And here is what we need to know. Well, severe thunderstorm. What is a severe thunderstorm? Well, it's defined by the National Weather Service as a tornado that has, or rather a severe thunderstorm, defined by winds of 60 miles per hour or more within a thunderstorm, 3/4 inch or larger hail, which can do damage and cause injury, and of course a tornado will make any thunderstorm severe. Some of the precautions you need to take. Well, of course, if you're outdoors, you need to get inside, and if you are outdoors, stay low to the ground. And also, go indoors, go to the lowest place in your house. Obviously, the basement's the best place, away from windows. Mobile homes just aren't the place to be. They become very mobile, unfortunately, during high winds, and they just can't stand those winds, so get out of those areas. No tall objects outside, trees, poles, power lines. These things can conduct electricity and cause real problems. Stay low. If you feel like, sometimes you can feel your skin even tingle. This happened to me once when I was chasing storms in those college days. I actually felt a little tingling and did not get struck by lightning, thankfully, but that can happen. So stay low to the ground if you feel that. And a flashlight, water, weather radio, always good to have in a safe place so you can go there during severe weather. Well, let's talk about what's been going on the last couple days. Of course, all week we'll be talking about severe weather, and we'll have more on that tomorrow. And we look at, there we go, current temperatures. It is 31 degrees right now in Des Moines, 27 in Boone. A little chillier in Fort Dodge at 25, but temperature's going to pretty much level off here. The winds will start to turn more to the east later tonight. Another system is coming our way from the northwest. You can see a little rain and kind of a mixture gathering off to the west. That'll be moving in as we go through the day tomorrow. Probably not much more than sprinkles or light showers here. So it'll be a lot like what we had over the weekend, and it shouldn't do us too much harm as far as temperatures or anything, no heavy snow or anything like that. You can see the one system moving off to the east there, that passed through earlier today, and for the most part it's light precipitation from coast to coast. Nothing major going on, but there is some changes, some major changes happening. See the low pressure entering the west coast there, British Columbia, northwest? Well, that is a sign of some warming, some westerly push there to the jet stream, and it's going to push in some very, very warm air. Temperatures at this hour are still in the 70s, like in Phoenix, 71 degrees. It's 65 in Dallas right now. Highs in these areas will be close to 90 degrees, at least the mid to upper 80s the next couple of days. And we are going to see some of that warm air come our way as soon as this high pressure to our north moves away and the winds turn to the south. Tomorrow the winds will be southeast and start to warm things up. But as for tonight, we'll look for a variably cloudy sky. You can see the moon once in a while, 30 degrees for the low, maybe a bit cooler than that in some areas. And an east wind, at least later on, 5 to 10. And tomorrow, look for a few showers, mainly in the afternoon. I think it looks like northern Iowa will be the recipient of most of this light shower activity, but still 48, pretty close to a normal high. Southeast winds at 10 to 20. And the extended forecast. And the winners are, we are the winners, big time. 70 degrees on Thursday. It will be the top of the week with really not much of a rain chance there. A few scattered showers on Wednesday, but still 64 on Wednesday looks good, 66 on Friday. A cold front comes through on Friday. We could see some thunderstorms there, but even then, after the cold front, 56 after the cold front. You remember 2 weeks ago, 56 was not even a real
We were in the 30s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've been waiting for the Academy Awards so long that Matt Kelly is warming up in the bullpen, doing his exercises,
Yeah,
so that when he
stretching out
gets out
over
and do sports, you know, he'll be fresh
gonna
as
be
a
ready.
daisy.
He'll be ready to
Yeah.
go. Well, Cedar Falls landmark is no more, due in part to Iowa's weather. Engineers deflated the 4-acre fabric roof on the Unidome today. A new solid roof will replace it. The change was prompted by a number of problems with the dome, including this one in 1994. You may remember the dome collapsed under the weight of a heavy snow.
Well, it's a good thing this didn't fall on the dome. The sky really was falling on Texas last night. A small meteorite slammed into the ground a short distance from where some children were playing. Luckily, nobody hurt. The meteorite, only about the size of a softball, showed up fiery red in the Texas night sky. That's it. Museum authorities and scientists converged on the area today to examine the rock in a search for other fragments.
Coming up, using rituals to heal, the ceremonial cure in tonight's medical breakthrough. A bit later in sports, will he or won't he return? Dan Gable talks about his future in Iowa.
News 5's Medical Breakthrough is brought to you by Parks Plastic Surgery.
Frito-Lay says people have been asking about them for months, and today WOW chips were introduced in Des Moines. The chips, made with a fat substitute called Olean, were test marketed in Cedar Rapids under the name Max. The chips, however, do come with a warning. Olean can cause stomach cramps and other digestive problems. That does not, however, seem to stop consumers from trying them.
Birthdays, weddings, and holidays are filled with ceremonies celebrating the occasion. In tonight's medical breakthrough, rituals to promote healing of the body, mind, and spirit. Colleen Parker has multiple sclerosis.
Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal.
Colleen, her family, and her friends created a ceremony to help everyone accept her illness.
It was important for them to accept the illness, accept me now as opposed to me before.
Now we just learn to live day by day and live for the moment versus, trying to figure out what we're going to do next week, next month, next year.
A swirl of smoke, music, and special objects. Ceremonies to heal the mind, body, and spirit are as old as man. But 2 Phoenix physicians are reviving the importance of this ritual in today's society.
It reminds us that whatever it is we face, we're not facing alone. And it reminds us that together we can accomplish things that sometimes overwhelm us alone.
A healing ceremony has 4 elements: purpose, people, preparation, and performance. Colleen added personal touches with candles, a poem, and a packet of forget-me-nots. She says the ceremony was good medicine for her.
It makes you feel better when people are there for you. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime.
Doctors Hammelschlag and Silverman have written a book called Healing Ceremonies that explains how anyone can create their own healing ceremony. If you'd like more information on tonight's medical breakthrough, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope. Our address, 3903 Westtown Parkway, that's in West Des Moines, 50266 is the zip.
Scientists say they have wiped out hard-to-treat tumors by using a cancer drug suspended in a mixture as thick as honey. The syrupy liquid kept the drug working on the tumor instead of leaking away. Researchers at the Arizona Cancer Center say so far the strategy has worked mostly with tumors in the mouth and throat. But they also say it might work on cancers in the liver and on recurring breast tumors.
Here in central Iowa, Ray Scott was best known as the spokesman for American Home Patient Medical Services. Scott died today at the age of 78 at his home in Minneapolis after a long illness. But before his TV work, he was the voice of the Green Bay Packers for 2 decades. Later in his career, he was the play-by-play man for the Minnesota Vikings and the Twins. An exact cause of death has not been listed.
Very upbeat guy. Always enjoyed his broadcast. And your broadcast, I enjoyed.
You like mine?
Oh, yeah.
Especially at, 12:15 in the morning. But, hey, it's never too early or too late to talk about sports. When we come back, some basketball honors for some local players. We'll tell you about it next in Morning Sports.
News 5 Sports is brought to you by the new Dodge World's Toughest Rodeo, March 27th through 29th at Vets Auditorium.
Good morning, everybody. After outscoring the Gamblers of Green Bay 8-0 in the first 2 games of their best-of-7 USHL playoff series, the Des Moines Buccaneers traveled to Cheese Country last night to see if they could continue their dominance out on the frozen pond, and the answer is yes. The Bucs scored 1 goal in the first period. Then they exploded for 6 in the second en route to the 7-3 win. There were, however, over 200 minutes of penalties and 7 ejections handed out in last night's game. Scott Owens' men take a 3-0 lead in the series into tomorrow night's game. Well, if you're like me and were able to take in a Drake women's basketball game or 2 this past season, you saw for yourself that senior guard Kirsten Miller can flat out shoot the basketball. Now Miller will be able to show the rest of the college basketball world just how good of a shot she really has. The Mo Valley Conference Player of the Year is one of 8 women who will compete in San Antonio for the right to call themselves the top 3-ball shooter in the game today. You can see Kirsten Miller try to light it up from long range this Thursday, March 26th on ESPN. Coverage of the men's slam dunk contest and men's and women's three-point contest starts at 8:30 Central and will be hosted by Dick Vitale and Brad Nessler. In other basketball news, Simpson College center Adam Dahl, seen here, has been tabbed as the Columbus Multimedia West Region Player of the Year. Dahl averaged 20 points per game for the Storm this season, and he led all of Division III in rebounding with almost 15 boards per contest. The 6'6 junior was voted as the Iowa Conference Player of the Year, and he was also one of 10 finalists for the Jostens Trophy, which is awarded to Division III's Most Valuable Player. Well, it sounds as if Dan Gable is all but saying that he will not return from his year off to retake control of the Iowa wrestling program. Not if Gable has his way anyways. After watching the Hawkeyes win their 7th NCAA wrestling title in the past 8 years this weekend in Cleveland, Gable says that he wants to see either interim coach Jim Zaleski or Tom Brands, an assistant, named as the permanent head coach in Iowa City. But Gable did go on to say that if the university looks any further than Zaleski or Brands to lead the powerhouse program, Gable will be back. Because of the recent cold weather, it may not seem like baseball season, but it certainly is. And the capital city is fortunate enough to have one of the finest AAA ball clubs in the country in the Iowa Cubs. And 1998 promises to be an interesting year for the iCubbies. For starters, Tim Johnson, the man who led the team to a second-place finish last season, has moved on to the majors where he is now manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. Johnson will be replaced by Terry Kennedy in the dugout. Another new twist is that the league has expanded to 15 teams and will include affiliates of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Colorado Rockies, and Anaheim Angels, just to name a few. One more specific note, the Cubs organization today announced that 20-year-old pitcher Kerry Wood will more than likely start the season here in Des Moines. Wood spent the end of last season in Iowa and posted a record of 1-2. But with the way Wood throws the ball, the Cubs say he should be in Chicago's starting rotation sometime this year. If the weather cooperates, Iowa will open its season on Tuesday, April 7th, with a home game at Sec Taylor against the Nashville Sounds. And finally, after going 10 of 16 at the plate and batting .625 with a home run, a double, a triple, and 4 RBIs, Iowa State first baseman Aaron Runk was yesterday honored as the Big 12's Player of the Week. Runk is a sophomore in the midst of a 7-game hitting streak, and he was instrumental in ISU's 2 wins over Kansas this past weekend that helped the Clones improve to 7-10 overall and 2-2 in the Big 12. Runk also accounted for 14 of Iowa State's run during this past week. And one more news, NFL news that is, the Cleveland Browns will be getting another football team. They are now the Baltimore Ravens. They were awarded to Baltimore. The Cleveland Browns are coming back. They will begin play August 21st of 1999. A new stadium that's being built. So good news for Cleveland Browns.
Has a football.
You did that just for me, didn't you?
I did because you said people would like to know.
I used to be in Cleveland.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
we're going uphill in a hurry here. It was winter last week, and we're heading into, well, almost summer-like weather. 64 on Wednesday, 70 rather on Thursday, and chance of thunderstorms Friday. There may be a few showers tomorrow, but it looks like a better chance tomorrow night, so pretty decent weather, I'd say.
Calendar says spring.
Yep.
Temperatures on the rise. If you're still not convinced, take a look at the nation's capital.
That's right. The cherry blossoms are in full bloom in Washington. This is a sure sign of the changing seasons. The flowers actually bloomed a little early this year thanks to the warmer than usual winter.
And azaleas are probably blooming down south in Atlanta.
That's right.
That's right.
That's the news for all of us this morning. I'm Mike Keene.
I'm Sonia Height. Susan. Have a good morning. Remember, 5's the 1.